Okay, hello, welcome to the very first Democracy for Developer blog video of 2021. It is 2021, isn't it? Oh my god, I can't believe it. So yeah, I'm going to talk about what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. I know other people have like Christmas and New Year, but that didn't stop me. So yeah, a bunch of new stuff has gone into the game. I'm just gonna start a game. In fact, as I do that, I'm gonna point out we have Spain. It's not actually in yet. If I click play, it'll probably crash because I haven't done all of the stuff that sets up what the policies are. But it will be in. So like the next update to the game should have Spain as a playable country. And I know people say that we've got a lot of very similar European countries in, and that's true. So the next country after that, I think, is going to be South Korea, which is very different. I mean, it's a very different country, right? So I know we've had a lot of kind of like fairly identical, sort of mildly socialist, social democratic, liberal countries, which are quite similar. So South Korea, I think, will be interesting. And I'd like to do some really radically different ones as well at some point, but there's a lot of work involved in each one. So that's South Korea, and I do want to do Italy as well. So they take ages, but anyway, it is going in. Let me just pick a country. Let's pick Germany. Why not? And talk about the new stuff, because we have new stuff. It starts off quite badly, actually, doesn't it, in Germany? Oh dear, Germany, thou art full of problems at the moment. So a bunch of stuff is new policy-wise. We've got a bunch of new policies aimed at the religious group, because that was something that people were interested in adding. So we've got three of them. You sort of think, yeah, and one you think, whoa. We'll go with the whoa one first, which is under transport. Ban women from driving, which is probably one of the most extreme policies in there. It isn't really, because we have, we have the death penalty in there. Obviously, it's an incredibly extreme policy, but it has existed. I think it's being dialed back a bit in I think Saudi Arabia, and justified under like religious reasons. It's a very interesting problem to think. With self-driving cars, what happens to that policy? Because like, do they update the religious text or the social expectation that then that's fine, or do they change it? I mean, I obviously I think it's a crazy policy, and really maybe we should put in ban men from driving as a policy. I quite like having kind of crazy extreme policies, because one of the things you realise when you implement a policy that's kind of nuts is that there's almost some logic in some of them. So for example, ban women from driving obviously totally and utterly destroys gender equality and upsets liberals, but obviously it also reduces traffic congestion, which is awful, right? I mean, like, who would use that as a solution? Look, we have traffic congestion. Imagine thinking we have gridlock. What about this religious policy? Anyway, I'm putting it in there because I like having controversial policies in the game. You can ban abortion, which to me is incredibly extreme. Anyway, it's going to go in there. I mean, I'm not suggesting this is a sensible thing. I'm not suggesting giving the police machine guns is a sensible thing. Anyway, so that's one of the four policies that we're putting in, aimed at either pleasing or upsetting religious people. The other one's quite tedious by comparison, or rather the next one, which is a religious tax. So this is kind of like a tithe. So it's basically income tax, but it gets given to the church to do with as they see fit, which will reduce poverty and increase health and education and foreign relations, because you assume that the church acts a bit like a charity. In that respect. So that's another policy that's in. Another one here is state religion. So that's really kind of like the acknowledgement of a particular religion as being the official religion of that country. We have that in the UK. The Queen is the head of state. The Queen is the head of state and the head of the church, as I understand it. And also, bishops get positions in the House of Lords. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to be elected. We have no idea what their opinions are. But because they're bishops, they get given executive power in Britain, which I think is absolutely outrageous. But there you go. Your mileage may vary. Anyway, so that's another one. One that's... where would it be? I think it is down here. Nowhere near as controversial. It's religious banknotes. Now, you might think, what on earth are you on about? Do I have any money? I don't... all I've got is... This is typical. All I've got is foreign money. Because I don't know where my wallet is. So here we go, man. I mean, you know this. Surely you know this. But in God we trust. Okay. But if you look at a euro, I don't know what country that is. Nothing. In God we trust. Euros from another country, I think. I think these are all different denominations of euros. But then again, look, this is a church window, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, if you look at currency all over the world, some just have like "In God We Trust" or something, and then some will have images of religious leaders and stuff like that. There is a banknote in Britain that has Charles Darwin on, or used to. I'm sure that upsets some creationists. Anyway, it's a thing, right? Because it's a thing that people look at quite a lot, or that they see quite a lot. I guess we kind of don't think about it. But it is quite symbolic. Like all of our coins have the profile of the Queen on. I mean, come on. Why? Anyway, so, you know, really religious people like this. Atheists don't like this, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, it's this thing that goes in the game because it is a sort of thing that no one cares about until someone suggests changing it, and then everyone's like, oh my god, you cannot take Jesus off our banknotes or whatever. Anyway, so that's another thing. And there's a fourth thing. Which is the fourth thing? So we've got tax driving. I've done them all, haven't I? So we've got religious tax, ban women from driving, state religion, and religious banknotes. So these are 4 policies. I mean, like, people like having lots of policies in the game, you know, and that's fair enough. That's cool. So they're in. Right. What else have we got? I will demonstrate live the next thing, hopefully. So I'm going to boost maternity leave because that's the kind of guy I am. And then I'm going to go to the next turn. Stuff is going on. Hostages. Yeah. Send in the cops. And then I'm going to be completely and utterly schizophrenic and go, no, I think maternity leave is actually a really bad idea. And you can do this in the game and that's fine. But it's not fine. Policy reversal. OMG. This has always been in the game. It's always been in the game. I think it was in Democracy 3. That if you implement a policy and cancel it, or cancel it and then re-implement it, raise it and then lower it and then raise it, whatever, the public notice, the simulated voters in the game notice, okay, and their perception of you. It was only in Democracy 3 after a certain point, I think. No, it used to work differently in Democracy 3. Anyway, in Democracy 4, what happens is they notice that and they think you're less trustworthy. So if you click on this, you'll see the trustworthy thing, and there's a policy flip-flop. I should change that to say reversal. I thought about U-turn, but all of these terms, I think, if you're American or British, like policy U-turn or flip-flop is like a kind of colloquial term that I think, I'm trying to think really globally. So how does that translate in Portuguese? How does that translate in Chinese? How does that translate in Russian? So I think I'm going to go with reversal. Anyway, it's in there. It's always been in there, right? And you've always been able to see it if you go into trustworthiness. But now we have that little pop-up that says, hey, you just did this thing, stop doing that unless you want to be called out on it. So that's the thing that's in. Something else that's in that I won't bother restarting the game to show you is in certain cases, if you're playing in French, I think it's mostly French, maybe an occasional bit of German or Spanish or something. If you had accents over the first character, like see that D, if that had an accent over it, the text would have been misaligned. Okay, which I think is kind of a little bit rude as a developer to not have fixed that. I mean, it's a trivial thing, you know, it doesn't affect the game at all, but I think it's kind of a sign that you're not like paying attention to the game experience for people playing in a different language. And we have a fair few languages now, and it takes a lot of time, but I'm glad I fixed it anyway. It's a bit tricky and a bit awkward because the way our text engine works, but anyway, that's done. Something that is in Go Away tutorial is this. If you play the game a lot, you're used to seeing kind of a sine wave here. I'm talking about this this blue thing here. So that's the global economy. It used to be very, very predictable. Boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust. Now it isn't. Now it has an additional kind of out of phase sine wave that combines to do crazy things. So it's not as predictable as it used to be. So you can't be going into a recession and thinking that's okay because I know how long recessions last in Democracy 4. No, you don't anymore. It's a lot more unpredictable and therefore makes the game a lot more interesting, I think. And we also changed this screen a little bit so that when you hover over these things, it will just like highlight that line. The line only really starts here because this is all before the game started. So the idea is here is a little bit to make it clear that these are all on kind of like different scales and to remind you what they are. And with some of these things, it will give you the data as well. I wasn't happy with this chart, and I'm a lot happier with it now. You get these little mouse over things. That's pretty much everything that's gone in. We're getting updated translations are coming soon. If you play the game and you notice that some stuff isn't translated in your language, it'll only be very small things, policies that have only just gone in, or I think the last country isn't in Portuguese or something. I don't know. There's a few things. We know about all of them. I actually have code that automatically scrapes through the game, works out when something's missing, because it gets either not drawn or we show the English. So I know where they all are, and it's just this lag because we were going to crowdsource stuff, but not anymore. So we use a professional translation company, and it takes time to gather all of this stuff together, send it to them, get it back, put it in the game. So it was a slight lag. So when we put these new policies in, I would like to already have the translations, but I don't know whether I'll manage that or not. So that's what's going on in the game, basically. If you're watching this on the day we made the video, we're in the Steam sale, the Steam Winter Sale at 25% off. So, like, you know, if you want to save 25%, buy the game now. I get less money, so I don't know why I should even mention that. I should don't buy the game until the sale ends. That's what I should say. Thank you to all the people who have bought the game over Christmas. That's great. It makes an ideal gift. I mean, you think about it, with the coronavirus, you don't get to see your family, so you need to get angry about politics more. To compensate, right? So obviously Democracy 4 is the perfect gift to be really irritated at people who disagree with you. Anyway, this is Democracy 4 on Steam now. Isn't it exciting? Thank you for watching, and I will see you in 2 weeks.